Hello and welcome again to part 2. I had the part 1, got cut off midway, so I'm continuing with part 2 of this. I think we left off from the context decorator, and I was just trying to do a bit of setup here initially. So we had generated, if I just undo, this is what we had last time in the last tutorial. So let's say okay, how do we make sure that these contributors work? Okay, so there are two approaches here. This means we have the define context decorator, which is transport agnostic, so it doesn't really depend on HTTP, but we have this one which depends on HTTP. That's why we have the HTTP context decorator. All right, so let's just remove that, because we had one being called here. So token 1, if now we try to request, we were getting resolving one contributor, right? So then we can have the second one. So this one, this is 1. So how do we decorate this? We say here I can say, okay, let me just copy all this, have 1 to be just to be giving me 1, right? So 1 should give me 1, then string is not separate. Okay. Oh, let me just make this async. As const. I think that was the issue. So because this is type tuple type, so we need to cast this to as const so that it returns 1, because it's saying here maybe promise 1. Right, so that should fix that. So we are supposed to copy these, let's say 2 oh god, 2, so 2 contributor. Okay, so 2 contributor, this one, then we can take this and say, oh god, okay, so this one will be 2, this one will be 3. So we have 2, 3 at the moment. If we check the index here, we have let's say 2 contributor dot registration, then we can have 3 contributor dot registration. You can just run pnpm kick format. Okay, I see. So bring here commands name or format steps. Okay, so run that again. Should format our code nicely. Right, so That's how you can actually extend the formatter. Like you can extend the KickJS to have custom. Let me just run pnpm kick. Ooh. So you can see we have a format registered here. If you had another one, you could just supply it. You can see once you add that command, it should reflect here. Another thing, so we have code formatted well here for us now. So you can see we have one contributor dot registration, 2 and 3. So in what order are these being resolved? All right, so we need to check. All right, execute. You can see they are being executed in order of 1, 2, 3. All right, if you can see 1, 2, 3. So let's say these contributors I might need, let's say, in the controller here, where do you have the get? So I can say at 3. So I can call the at 3 contributor as a decorator there. So execute. We still have something going on. All right. So so I'll change from this because we have maybe faces that we want. Let me see. So for me to, this won't work with that. All right, so let me see how to go about this. So define http context decorator. Okay, so let's try that. Execute. So 3 has been executed. So let's say I need let's call 1 1 here. So I have 1 there. So you can see seems like nothing is happening, but let's just go and see. So this will be 3. This will be 2. Okay, so we have 2 and 1. So I'll say here depends on. I can add something like depends on here to reorder them. So it will be type safe. So you can see it's telling me either 1, 2, or 3. So I expect one contributor to be called. So 3 should be called before 1. Okay, so that, let me say, in the root here, so I just let me just remove 2 and 1 from there. Then, oh, I was calling the wrong one actually. Try it out. Execute. So you'll see we have 3 is being called before 1. right? But if I say, let me, where is it? So if I omit these, then run it, you'll see 1 is called before 3. So one thing you need to take note of here is, because if you want things to be executed in order, let's say you want something to be loaded maybe from the terminal, then it should provide context to your application. You can use this approach, okay? So let's say 3 is supposed to set some value, it will set value 3, then so 3 should give us 3, alright? So then your controller depends on that 3, alright? So then you can just get it const 3, you can just use ctx.get 3, and you see the result is 3 or undefined. So then what we can say, we have the logger at auto wired. So let's say logger from KickJS, then we can just logger logger.debug message and the rest of the arguments. So let's call this, if I call that, you see debug got 3 contributor value in controller.list 3, alright? So what happens if now I don't where is it? So if I say, now if I swap this, then say depends on, say this is now 1, alright, execute, then you'll see we get some error here telling us that missing context contributor 1 required by 3 on the route, alright? So this tells you that one has not been mounted on the route level. So meaning you're trying to access the value of it, alright, before it's set. So these are some caveats that you might run into, but it helps you to sort some, you can use this to sort some values. Let's try and see now how that works out. Execute, we still get an error, alright? This is because 3 is mounted, right? So if you look at here, 3 is mounted before 1. So that's why we are getting that error. So if sometime you may find out that you are having issues with the decorators, context decorators, you'll find that if you register one before the other, just try to register the dependsOn to ensure that let's say for instance, if for 3, let me see, is it 1, this one, define the context decorator 1, right, and 3. So 3 depends on 1. That means 1 should be mounted before 3. But if we check here, 3 is mounted at so 3 is mounted first, then is when 1 is mounted. So by the time you mount 3, you find that 1 has not been mounted yet, so it causes issues. So let's say now there might be a case where let's use something like local. So let's say 1, so you might need to order things in this manner. So let's say so 1, let's say check auth. So check auth, so this will be renamed to check auth, right? So check auth will be check auth, let's just call it check auth. So this is what it will do. We'll just check const header ctx dot so this will need to be http context define http context decorator. Yeah, so http context decorator will have access to the request. So request.headers, then we'll just check if auth header we won't throw any error. So this will just return true. So this will be is so is authenticated will be a boolean, right? So then we'll just say return false. So this should be true or false, but we don't need to have this presumably. So then so if the check auth, then we might have check permission, right? So let's have auth, which might be is authenticated, then we have permission. So permissions will be strings, okay? So if you're authenticated, let's say you will have authenticated permissions read cows or that, right? So then so permissions will be this type const permission. So we'll have cows. How do you map this? So have this as const. So then type mapped omissions will be that, so that no, I want it to be key of No, 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 no. I need it to be, so this will check, k in key of type of permissions, so p in key of type of permission k boolean. Yep. So this should give me that. Then type. So this should be, yes. So permissions will be permissions. All right. So we have some things going on here. So we have our permissions. This will be satisfies. Okay, type auth result. This will be auth result, right? So this check auth should return okay. So it doesn't depend on anything at the moment. So it should return permissions for this, which should satisfy auth result. All right. So that is check permission. So this is check auth. So check auth will check for if you're authenticated. If you're authenticated, it will pipe the value down to the next, or you can resolve it down. So let's now go to 2. Let's call this check permission. All right. Yes. So have this as check permission. All right. So check permission key will be check permission. All right. So then I can just have where is it? Check permission. Where is it? So to check auth, let's say export interface. So this is augmented context meta. Then I'll just have your auth here. Then take the check auth. Just extract these ones. Bring them to context here. So that we can have this to be extended. Extends. I don't know whether this will work. Oh, import. All right. So it extends that. So what does check auth do for us? return that. Then check permission. What does it do? So check permission we won't augment really. So what we'll just say here will depend on check auth, right? We're having some issues here. So controller car module. Okay. So let's see how this goes. So something is off here a bit. Wait, where should it be? Skipped and changed. So at controller, cause controller. Okay, let me see something. Something is broken somewhere. So you have check auth. Interesting. So we have 3 here. We don't have 1. So then this one also. Let's see why we are still having issues. Okay. So auth and 3. So let's see, check auth and check permission. Something is off. So const auth will be that. So out of these, since we have augmented this, it means if now I check permission, I should be able to get this auth value. Then okay, so if auth okay, let's say if auth let's just say if auth, oh god, if auth is equals to false, right? So at that point we are sure it's false. So at this point we can ctx dot, so let's use http context decorator. ctx dot unauthorized problem dot forbidden. So we'll have to pass this problem title forbidden detail. You're not okay, you don't have the permission to, then we just say so here we might have some parameters needed, so that's where now these params come into play, right? So we can have type params, which will be permission, did we export that from ctx? Export type permission, check for permission from ctx, then we'll pass it here. So the first thing here will be check permission. Oh god, what am I typing? Check permission. So this should match the key here. The next should be, let's just say any for now, then params. All right. So I think I'm using the wrong thing. Check auth. Shouldn't augment these. So just have it as that, so that if not auth and not auth that is authenticated, then okay, return. So I think return is now what's causing an issue here. So just to make sure that we terminate it at the top here, permission will be params.permission. So this params here. So then how do we make sure that we can use this somewhere, right? So in the check permission, we will mount them here in the, so let's say we pass check permission, right? So we pass check permission on top here. Then now let's call that again, execute. You can see you are getting forbidden, you do not have permission to access this resource, right? So that is what has been returned. And if you can check here, where is it in our contributors, the check permission, you can see, does it log anything? Not really. So what happens is we can log, I think we can log, so let's format these again. So we have everything formatted. So what happens is when you're doing the resolve, you're trying to get auth, but we're going to look out for this check permission, permission. Then it should log for us the auth, the details in the auth, right? So getting back here, execute that. Let's check for that log. So there is something. Got auth value. Okay. Check permission. Undefined, resolving 3 contributor. Okay. So error that after the reset. So you can see we can't really retrieve. Instead of using ctx here, we can throw, let's just throw an error. Just throw an error of not authenticated so we don't end up with the headers not set issue. So execute that. Internal server error. You can see we are getting the error not authenticated. Right? So it's behaving normally. That's expected. The way it has shown here, but you can see got auth value in check permission. Got auth value in check permission. Auth. All right. So if you check the controller here, you can see we have the check auth, then check permission. They're stuck. But usually, if what happens now if you swap them, right? So we can execute that again. We see nothing is happening, right? So I want this check permission to depend on auth. So I tell it, don't call yourself unless you have auth, all right? Right, wait a minute, no. At the moment, we don't have those things set. So that means it's still okay. So let's say we need to, but wait, don't we have the headers? So check auth, what does it do? So let's log const logger is equals to logger. So import logger from KickJS. Logger.debug. Got auth header. We see what happens. So execute that. Got authorization header. Test actually. So why are we not getting Why are we not getting this value? So let's see, logger.debug authentication successful, execute that. So all right, so we have the header, yes. If not auth header, oh, I see. So auth header dot slice or slice, not slices. So okay, execute that. We still have an error, but you can see got authorization header test, successful authentication, got auth value, check permission that, not authenticated. So then we need to check on the check permission what it's doing. So we're getting auth, which should give us the auth result from the other side. So meaning check auth is running actually before check auth is running before the check permission. But let's see why it's not returning that value. So check permission. So we can use the get request value auth. So instead of the let me try using the get request value instead of the ctx.auth. Okay, execute. Still the same thing. Not authenticated. Undefined. Let's make auth its dependency so that we test whether that resolves. Then you can see now we're getting into some serious trouble. This should be permission, not permission. So check permission. So what is this? Missing context contributor auth required by check permission, right? So okay, ctx.get. Let's try that. Execute. Still the same issue. Let's see how that now goes if we swap them. So execute. Still the same issue. So missing context contributor auth. Check permission on route get. Okay. Define. Wait. Check permission is HTTP. Check auth is also HTTP. So let's say so check auth, we instead of mounting it on the controller with it, so here instead of there we can come to the module section inside contributors. Then we can pass the check auth. Check auth dot registration. So it should be a function. Save. So then we try and execute it again. Nothing still working. So okay, let's say missing context contributor auth required by check permission. Okay. Let me see, what did I mount here? Let's remove this for now. Oh god, why this? Why now? Okay, let me remove this. Let me restart this and so same issue. So okay, let me how about check, let me see. So check permission depends on auth. No, it should be check auth, not auth. Check auth, not auth. Execute that. Yes. So HTTP. So I think I found the issue. It's not just about this. So let me just comment this out. Then we can have the check in the controller. We can have the check auth here. Execute that. Then should see check auth. Okay, permission ran after check auth. Right. So what okay. Oh, I see. So it is check auth. We should get yeah, should we check auth, and that is what should be set in the context here. Yes. So that's the issue. So the value of check auth okay, resolve should return so this should return is authenticated false and permissions false. Yes, it should be check auth. That is where the issue was coming from. So in the context here, you type the name of the context, and for check permission, so for this check permission, what we're returning is just it's just boolean. So in the ctx here, you can just say this boolean so that it's typed. So in the resolve here, you can see now it auto resolves to maybe a promise boolean. This I'm not sure why it's not resolving. So ctx is any god. Okay, it doesn't really matter. Okay, let's try again. Execute. Yes, and now we are authenticated. Okay, so I was checking at the wrong value. That's why we were having issues. And you can see now got authorization header in check auth, bearer test, authentication successful, got auth value in the check permission, is authenticated true, then we have the permissions that so sometimes maybe you might need to maybe scope something per module. Let's say for instance you want to work on a feature and you need to enable it, let me say so let me just try and run type gen on this. Okay, so ctx, why is it, oh god, resolve. Okay, so this should be as auth result. Then we need to export this. Yep, I see the issue. Yeah, I see why we had that issue. So just typing issue. So this means the permissions are tuple and we didn't really have a way to run it. So so there are cases where maybe you need to turn something using this context. You can mount it in the, you can see for now we are checking auth here, right? We're checking auth. So if I remove this check auth here, execute, I will have issues because it's not mounted anywhere. So it's telling it's missing contributor check auth, right? So this check auth contributor, I can mount it in the module section here. So check auth, then this means if now I execute this, it will be mounted at the module level, and we should still be able to have how do you say, have the details, okay, here. So let's say if now we had params already there, so we can say with if you have params on this, okay, this does not have params, we just pass registration. All right, so let's say we have check permission, then so let's convert this now to have params. Okay, how can we make this have params? I don't have typical use case for how you can achieve this, but let me think of it. After checking for permission, so okay, okay, found it. So instead of having it at the controller level, you might figure out a way on how to put it, but I'm going to do those things at the module level. So instead of having this check permission at controller level, I'm going to have it at module level. Okay, so instead of that, because check auth is already put here, so I'll just check permission, okay, dot registration. Okay, so it doesn't matter the order, because if I execute this now, you see I'm still getting the same result. If I check the console, see I'm still getting the same result. So what happens is, now I had stated here that in the params section you can pass the params, right? So just check if we have those params. If those params exist, so params.permission, then so if you want to have default, you can say default, oh god, which key is that? It's param defaults. So this should also be type safe, maybe read cows. Okay, so I don't have any for now. So let's say that you need these params. Okay, so let me just mount it here in the module section. So if you have those params, you can use those params to with params. So you just pass the width, then now you pass permissions. So permission, maybe read cow. Okay, so if that is not there, okay, so dot registration, so format, so this means check this if this permission is there, so then we can execute these. So we go back to where the person, where we're checking auth, then remove this cow, execute. Let's see whether it's really checking. Let's log checking permission, execute. So checking permission write cows, is that the same thing we, oh, so remove that, execute. So checking permission in check, okay, checking permission in check permission write cows. Okay, but we have read cows. So the best thing here is when we are checking these params, then we log auth, let's say against that, execute. So you can see we have we are checking read, okay, we are checking write cows against read cows. So so okay, got it. So const has access, this will be if not access, throw error, forbidden, otherwise return true. Okay, so then we can just execute. You can see internal server error, then you can see error is forbidden. So this is how you can use context decorators for doing authentication and maybe injecting dependencies. One thing here you may take note of is this depth section. I may need some let me say I might need the, how do you call it, some dependencies from the container registry. So that's where now you call the deps. Okay, so deps, right? So this deps, what happens is let's say call it repo, and in the service we had this cow, we have this cow repository. All right, so we have cow repository, so we pass that here. So we are getting this repo, then so here we can check repo. So out of the depths we can just get the repo. So then out of this we can just say repo dot find, is it find all or find? So at this point now we are starting to get issues of unknown because this one wants to be typed. All right, so one way of typing this is to say type depths, which will be that. So then we pass this depths here. All right, so once you have depths, will give you you have your dependencies here. Then now repo should be able to give you the interface. So I can say find all. So make this async. Then we can const all will be repo.find all. Then I can just logger dot debug all cows await find all. Okay, so this is how now you can use dependency. You can extract dependencies directly from the container registry. So let's inspect what we see. If you're checking permission, okay, execute, still the same error, but you can see we are able to get all cows, okay. So let's not block, okay. So for this, let's just return, okay, let's just, for now, let's just return false so that we don't block the request. So I'll go here, create a cow, try create a cow, maybe cow 1, execute. I have a cow created. So if now I go to, see, checking cow, no cow. Now if I go and execute this, see, I get the cows, but also remember in our context decorator, we said if you're checking a permission, we have these depths, but these dependencies, whatever we're resolving this token for the cow repository. Then we pass it here, right? After passing it here, then now it should give us a type safe approach. So if now we destructure repo, this iCow repository should be able to give us the method, and you can see the dependency injection has been injected automatically. So if I create cow2, let's call it cow2, execute. Now I have cow2. If I try to execute this, I have 2 cows. Then you can see in the check permission, all cows in the repository, we have this. So this means that you can use these ones to directly do database queries to be able to look up users before you proceed, because it's able to resolve all this automatically for you, so you don't need to worry about anything. All right, so that's about just about these context decorators. They are really powerful if you know how to use them. So I want to maybe simplify this a bit so that we have some simplicity. So you can see we are typing this, typing this, typing this. So I'll just remove this. Then you can say with params, call it, right? So once I call that, should give me the same approach, but because I have params, I just pass the params here, params. All right. So then it's type safe. You don't need to worry about anything. Then now the repo is also type safe. So if you need to have the params, if you don't need the params totally, you don't need to like start mapping out. If you now have the params, then you can use the with params, you call it, so that it automatically types the key for you. Yep, and that's about it for context decorators. I know it's a powerful tool that you can really leverage. It's not just on authentication, but to make sure that you can prepare some things before the request. So if we go back to this documentation, you can see you may have something that resolves the local, then you return the local, then now you can resolve the local. Also at some point you might need a repository, then you pass it as a dependency, then it should be able to resolve that from the container registry. So ordering with depends on a contributor that needs another contributor output, declares the dependency by key. One thing I haven't talked about here is you've seen now we are using in the controller, we were able to get here where we are listing, let's say auth, we can say check auth, all right? So here we can get the auth, okay, the auth value directly from the ctx. But what if now we are outside the context of ctx, all right? Do you need to pass this ctx now to the service? No. So let's just start with here. Let's say logger. So got contributor. Okay. So checking if auth is populated. Okay. So we pass auth. Okay. So auth. Okay. Get that. So execute the fetch. Nothing. Then checking if auth is populated, and you can see we have it is populated here. Now if now we are outside, what happens now if you're outside the controller? Let's say I need this value in the service. Okay, so let's say where are we finding all here, right? So get logger. So let me just inject at auto wired logger private read only logger. Okay, so we have logger there. So logger is here. So here we don't have the ctx. How do we get this value, right? Do we need to pass the ctx down? No. Do we need to pass the value down to through this? No. The easiest way is to use this method here. What do you call it? Let me just look through it. So for you to understand what's going on with the context, if you're working on the context decorators, we have this resolve function. So this resolve function is whatever is setting value to the context values, okay? So the resolve is whatever we expect as an output. That's why the key should match whatever is being augmented in the augmentation pipeline. We also have some definitions here. So let's say what am I looking at? Right. So here we can see we have, okay, I'll talk about the error in a bit. So let's say you need to get some value from the context, all right? But you don't have access to that context, all right? So how do we go about that? So import this get request value, which should be the values in the current request context. So you just use here get request value. Okay, so then we say checking that inside service, right? So run that example again, execute, come back, checking permission, right cows, okay. Is it really? Okay, wait a minute. Am I calling the correct place? Let me use a different, so find all. Oh, no, it's in the paginated. So in the service, it is not find all, find paginated. Okay. Now if you execute this, get this value, but you can see checking if auth is populated inside service, and you can see the value has been set here. So you can see how powerful this can be when you're using your application. So this is one of the pipelines you might need to look into, because it really takes time to understand how things are flowing using this context. But you can read more on it from this page, okay? So another thing here is, if this check permission were to throw an error, right? So if check auth, now, so we are not authentic. Let's not be authenticated. Authorize close, log out. Okay, so we log out. If we try to execute now, missing. Okay. So what is it telling us? Checking if so we, okay, wait a minute. Missing or invalid authorization header. Where is that coming from? What is the, it is 401. So where is it? Check auth. So check permission. Let me see. Okay, let me mark it open so that I can be able to check. So execute that. Still the same issue. Let me check where this is coming from. Okay. Oh, I see. We had the guard. Oh, remove this middleware. So this doesn't really matter. Okay. So execute that. Internal server error. You can see we are getting not authenticated. So sometimes you might want not to throw an error because you expect that value eagerly. So that's where now error handling comes into play. So let's say in this, it will throw an error of not authenticated. So if you mark it as optional, you say this is true, then what happens is, even though you're not authenticated, the error will not be thrown, right? The error will not be thrown. So if you mark it as optional, the error will not be thrown at all. So if if you wish, if you have a contributor that is setting a value that you depend on later, let's say like check auth, you mark it as optional so that if error is thrown, then you can be able to just trickle it down. So what happens is we have the onError. So onError. So on this onError, you get the context, you get the error itself, then the logger.error. So we get this first, then with the message, right? So if that error is thrown, then that means wait, where is that? Did you throw any error? No. So we're not authenticated, yes. So error in checking permission with params. Let me see. Oh, all right. I see. So error in checking permission with params, that. Okay. Okay. Let's change this to debug. So so we have error and params. Execute that. You will see now we are getting some errors. Okay. So error, because it's just logging, then error in checking permission for that, then this is the error itself, then you can choose what to do with this error. If you need to transform it, you can transform it here. Whichever way you wish to use this error, you can just use it here. But what I told you is graceful shutdown. So if you just mark it as optional, if you mark it as true, then this error won't be propagated at all. So it won't be propagated at all. Even you're seeing the onError is not being called. So just be careful, but this onError can help you to debug a few things here and there, and this optional can also help you to turn off some actions. More on this you can read on in the documentation. Do you have anything else here? I don't think so. So one key thing to note here, the value of the key, this is the value that you expect from resolve. You take this key, that is now what you augment in this context meta. That is what you augment, so that if you check against this, it will be able to resolve that value for you. And I've shown you how you can also do a dependency on which you want one to come before the other. You can also work with that. All right. So we can close that on context decorators. The next thing I want to talk about is the plugins. So KickJS has plugins and adapters. So let's start on with the adapters. So to get started with adapters, you can just check on here. So logging, I think we've seen how to do the logging. So you can just mark your loggers with this so that you know the source of the errors. View engines, no. Let's talk about where the adapters. So adapters are some ways you can use to adapt your application to KickJS. So it also has a name, defaults, the configuration, you have the build, and so this is just the general overview of it. You define adapter, you pass your configuration, the default for the configs, then you have a build context where you have the config, and where is it? With this other, the name, you can access the name here from the context, the build context. So what does it have? It has its middlewares. Then you have these hooks, lifecycle hooks. So we have the before mount, on remount, before start, after start, then shutdown. So these are very useful when now you're using things to do with the databases, where now you might need to, before you mount, you can inject your database engine into the the system. So let me just show you how that goes about. I think the context decorators is clear. So to start off, I like using the CLI for this. So pnpm kick g it's adapter. So let's call it cow. So the CLI will generate it for you. So if you check your adapters here, you'll have cow adapter. It will generate a boilerplate for you, guiding you on how to set it up. So let's say you have your cow, the configuration you might need to pass. Then you have your cow adapter, the name, the defaults for your parameters, then the build context, you have the config, which is coming from the configuration, then you have the name, which is the name of your adapter. All right. Then also we have the middleware section where you can return your handlers. Here now are the hooks. Before mount, you can use the, in the context, this context usually we have the app itself, the Express app and the container. So you can inject dependencies or you can mount endpoints at this point in your application. Maybe you need to perform something or mount an endpoint that you don't want to be like the others, you might need to use that here. On remount, so this majorly used by the Swagger, just to make sure that we keep the state fresh. So this context, this before start, before mount, these are now the life cycle of KickJS application. After start, when now you have started the application, now you see here we can get something like, we have the app, the container, env is production, and the server. So this is the Express server that we are having. So you can use this point to mount your how do you call it, WebSocket. So you can mount your socket server here, maybe after start. Then you have the contributors, which follows the approach you are using on the contributors. So if now you have like a database adapter on shutdown, so this shutdown, now when the app is shutting down, it makes sure that all the adapters are shut down before anything shut down, to make sure that everything is closed. Okay, so how to use this? You just take this cow adapter, bring it to your root, then have your adapter. I think I had adapters on top here already. Here you call, import it, then you call. Then if you have your configuration, now you can pass them here. So get back here, let's say we enable in the adapters we enable this API key. Now if I come to this end, I can get the API key. If now I needed to get it from the environment variables, I can use the get env directly here and extract the value, let's say maybe log level. So see how you can be able to express a lot of things using this application. So let's see the adapter. Let's say here I'm not sure how Windows works, but let's say const logger, just call logger for cow adapter. Then on shutdown we can just say logger debug cow adapter shutdown complete. So then here in the terminal we can just say that, I don't know, this Windows has its own ways of doing things, I don't know. So to check these life cycles you can just test by, so where is it? So we say logger, so then here we can also not middlewares, before mount, on remount, so we can log here so ctx dot so this will give us dot, maybe let's say env. Okay, not sure why. So if I check this, so you can see cow adapter before start hook running, cow adapter before mount is running. Yes, so you can also inspect. So I don't know how the shutdown works because Windows is not showing it. I don't know why. Let me check here. There's just something with the Windows terminal that I don't understand. Also, something also seems off here. Okay, I don't know why it's just going off, but these hooks are called in order, so I don't know why it's not logging, but you can mount these in whichever way you want. But we have mounted our loggers. You can see the before start, before mount have been logged in the console. So generally the nice thing here is you always have the ctx.container at any point in time in this hook's life cycles. So you can always inject values into the dependency container directly from the adapters, and that also applies to, let me generate, let's say if now you have to create a plugin, because now most of the things here we have done is just repetition or something building on top of the other. So if you have your plugin, you can use the plugin generator, then you'll have your plugins here, then you have your cow plugin, following the same approach, but plugins can have so plugin also, they have now a register section which now has the container, our container instance. You can mount modules here in the in a plugin. You can have your adapters, you can have your middlewares, but these middlewares now are express middlewares, not the other ones. You can have your contributors. You can also have the on ready, so this is just to check whether the container is ready. Then we also have the shutdown. So plugin now is more of housing everything. You can add your modules there, you can add your contributors there, but you can read much more on the documentation because most of the concepts we have covered here are just now repetition of the concept we had covered before. So if we go further a bit, I think I talked on validation, something. All right, so let me now talk about something known as asset manager. All right, so this is how do I say this? It is a concept by which we are using to map files to be type safe and ensure that you have a consistent path whether you're in production or development. So how do you achieve this? So go to asset manager, type safe path resolution for files that live near your code in dev but get copied to this in production. So let's say like that. Okay, so the problem this solves without asset manager, every let's say render handler ends up doing some variant of, if process.env is this production, then you join this path, otherwise join this path, right? So three things go wrong, maybe typos, something fails, something doesn't fail until now you're in production, so manual dev prod branching on every call site. Then dir name arithmetic breaks your monorepos also, ESM or worker threads, bundle this layout. So how do you do this? With asset manager, you just import assets from KickJS, then you get the path to, let's say, mails.welcome. So this is the name of the asset, then it auto completes this for you. Okay, then HTML, just pass the path, then you pass the data. Just see that in real time. So we'll need to enable this in the kick config. So this is how you do it. You can use, so copy dirs, this is now where if you have some folders you need to be copied when you're building your application, you can set them up. So let's say, for instance, I have maybe to copy. Okay, then here I have test.txt. All right, so then I'll just say here copy dirs. So I'll just say here, so this should be, you can just say src, then have it as maybe copy. It's to copy, right? If I run pnpm build, so this should run kick build, it's very fast. Then you see copying directories Now if you check our dist, we have our src to copy. So apparently we need to pass the destination so that it doesn't break, because it's copying path to path. Okay, so dist that. So we don't need to, let's see. So this we can say from src. So this should be the path from to this will be dist to copy. Let's rebuild again. So then you can see now we have to copy flat, right? So this is something you can leverage on when you're building a KickJS application. So let's work on the asset map. Okay, so this was just copied errors. So let's work on this asset map. So let's say I have templates, then in the templates I might need to maybe have mail, then I have welcome.ejs, right? So just generate that h2 welcome, right, to KickJS. So you have welcome to KickJS right there, right? So how do we make sure that KickJS knows of this, right? So we'll tell it src templates. Okay, so let's say mails, come to kick config, tell it asset map. So copy that, paste it here. So I have mails, so mails src template mails. So this is mail, right? Or should I rename it mails? Let's just have it mails. So there are other things you can pass here, like destination if you want. So also there's the keys option. So let's try the first one. First one. So we have the types. You have it running. So have our server running already. Come to now our controller. So delete unused, then let me, okay, do we have kick assets? We have assets. So let's say okay, let's see, let's say assets const path is equals to assets. So it's assets so we have assets dot currently looks like we don't have types generated yet. Let's pnpm kick type gen. So assets is written, then you can see assets dot mails. So you can see we have mails, then we have the dot welcome. So dot welcome. Okay, so you call that. Okay, something broke, that's why the types are broken. Okay. So you have your mails. So I can just say here, yes, we already have the logger. So logger logger dot debug resolved path that. So then if I come to execute that, dun, tararam, dun, tararam. So it's telling me okay, it's saying unknown asset error, unknown asset mails. Make sure the namespace exists in kick config asset map. Let me just delete this folder. Something seems to have been broken here. Yeah, definitely. So wait, where? Okay. So let's okay, execute. I'm not sure what. I think I need to regenerate these types. So modules, plugins, yes. Yes. Okay. Something is wrong somewhere. So the controllers are not being written. So let me check. Okay. So it's mails. Okay. Oh God. Drives. Okay. So you have reports, mails. We have mails. SRC template mails. We have SRC templates mail. Yes. Globe. star.ejs. So let's see what happens. Looks like okay, let me use asset. Let's use assets dot mail dot welcome. Let me see whether that is working. Internal server error. Wait a minute. Let me try something here. So in the dist, what do we have? We have mails. Okay. So, okay, we have this mapping. Why is it complaining? What are we trying to access here? So mails, welcome. So unknown. This might be a Windows issue, probably. This might be a Windows issue, probably. Probably. So src templates, mail. Same error, same error. Let's see how it might be. Just let's test something here. Keys with extension. Same error. So probably it's a Windows issue or there is a bug here, but I will look into this and see how to resolve it, because I thought this would work. It was working, yes, but but definitely there is something wrong here. Let me something is breaking here. So the routes is not posted somehow. Interesting. Okay. Let me see. Let's see if that will work. Private. So let's try. So this is written. We have mail welcome.js, ejs. Okay. Don't worry about the controller for now. Yes. Okay. Okay. Now it's working. Interesting. So resolved asset path, for that you can see it has the direct path for this file. So let me see. Okay, let me rm rf dist. So what's the path? Oh, I see. I see now. So apparently this should not be the expected approach, but what it does is to, okay, let me just explain. You need to build first. Once you build, it will copy your assets to production. Then now if you, it will copy them to the production folder so that we serve the production folder rather than the dev folder. That's a bit of a hassle, but it might be worth it, but doesn't look to be that good, but it works. So let's say now I needed to have that. Let me just add EJS, then import EJS from EJS, then add types, EJS. So what I can do here, I can just say ctx.html wait, okay, ejs.render file. So we pass the path so that it can render. So let me try that. Yes, the response you're getting is hello, welcome to KickJS, which is whatever we were expecting. So you can use the asset manager, but the caveat is you have to build things first so that it serves the build rather than your the ones which are in dev. So okay, let's test this if that also work. At welcome, we have the at asset, call it welcome template. So you can have the at asset. Let's have it as comment out this asset template. So it is this. Oh, welcome. Welcome template. Then this will be this dot welcome template. So to show the name, I don't know how we usually do this? Star, I'm not sure name. I don't know. KickJS. So we have that. So this will be name. Will it just be name? I'm not sure. Okay. Yes. So you can see we are able to render. There are several approaches here, as you have seen. You can decorate using the asset to auto inject a template. You can use the use assets, this one. Then you can also use the assets itself. So those are practical ways you can use for this to inject templates automatically to your controller. The caveat is you need to build before you serve, so that let's say now if God, okay, I see why. So execute that. We shouldn't be getting that error again. Yes. So you have seen we have a couple of ways by which you can use the asset manager. You can use the we have the proxy way, which assets.mail. You call that the hooks way, where you use the use asset. The third one is where you decorate the asset itself. The fourth way is the string resolver, where you can have the resolve asset. So let's try that. Let's say const tmp, which will be resolve template. Where is it? Resolve asset. Resolve asset. So you have that. Pass the namespace, which will be mail. Then you pass the welcome.tjs. So you can also use this approach, though it won't be type safe, but whichever suits you well. So you can choose whichever you wish to have. Okay. So so how it works: the assets root env override, build manifest first. So manifest under your build.outdir, then dev fallback synthesis in memory manifest by reading keyconfig. So working each asset map directory cached after the work. So there's an issue actually on this, but I think I will work to resolve it so that it doesn't occur in dev mode. So there's just so much going on here, but that can be it for the asset manager. Let's talk about the CLI. Okay, so I will just be brushing on the CLI a bit. but it's very powerful on how you can be able to use it. Okay, there's also this concept of reactivity. If you're someone who has used Vue.js, we have these refs and computed getters, watch. You can explore how to use them, but majorly they are used in the plugin ecosystem. So if you wish to use something of that kind, you are free to work on it. So let me take you now to the CLI. So the CLI majorly, you can use it to add peer packages. That is, if you need to check on something, let's say clear. So pnpm kick -list. So if you list, you will be able to okay, let's say ls. So if you list, you should be able to see the peer packages we are having. So we have the CLI Vite and KickJS. So you can just add them using this. So let's say, but also we have several other things here. New or init, create a new KickJS project, dev for running development server, build for production build assets for building KickJS manifests, start to start production server. Then we have info to print, so we can just run pnpm kick info. So this should tell you the details of your system. So our CLI, I'm using Windows, Node this version, and the packages we are having, which are KickJS native. So let's now explore the CLI. Okay, I think we have talked so much on these other things, and we might need to work on another project. Let me just cd pnpm kick. So let me just add vp add -g @forinda kick.js CLI. So I want to install the CLI globally so that I don't need to run pnpm kick every time. All right, so let me just upgrade Vite plus. Okay, so I can run kick init -yes. ts hyphen let me see something here. Oh god, there was a command here that I failed to wait validation. There was something here. So let's just try schema validbot. Let's do yep. I don't know whether this will work. Oh no. So new init setup 2. Let's call it that. Whether this will work, I don't know. Yes. So creating KickJS project setup 2. Alright. Let's wait a bit so that we explore the CLI in details. So apparently it will use npm for installing dependencies, which I don't like. -r setup 2. So I'll just switch from this now to the newly created project. Right. So it has detected now kick config. I don't know why I didn't detect the other time. npm I. So we have a few things. We had talked about some of these earlier on. Set this to true. So with that in place, so we had talked about these custom commands. Then now we need to discover how now to use the CLI to extend it. So I'll just need to add something here known as CLI folder, or I can have it as scripts, doesn't matter. Oh god, mkdir CLI. So that is in place. So let's have a index.ts there. Oh god. Okay, so we have that in place. Okay, number one, I want us to explore what you can achieve by using the CLI. So number one is pnpm kick. So since this project is using the latest kick, I can just, because I've installed it globally, I have access to kick. I can just type gen, should automatically still do the type generations for me. They should work, right? That should be working as expected. I can be able to still run kick g module, let's say cow, should generate cow module. Inside our modules we have cow generated for us with everything plugged in automatically. So let's add rabbit. So we'll have rabbit set up already. You can see it's running here automatically. Okay, with this in place, the next thing we need to have here is try generate. You can generate for the generated modules you can remove. So you run kick rm module, maybe cow, say yes, should remove cows cleanly. Now cows is not here, the folder is not here also. Alright, so kick, you can just run kick to get a test of whatever it's having. So we had done info, inspect, so there's this KickJS doctor pnpm. Okay, kick doctor. Okay, so this should be able to test for you, tell you what is, if you're running the correct node version, KickJS installed, Express installed, reflect metadata setup. In your tsconfig.json, you can see experimental decorators true and this. Fix the errors above before running the application. So if we check tsconfig, do we have those? Alright, they're there, but seems like maybe it's not checking the correct folder, but it's okay, we can just assume that. So we can also run kick check. So it's used to --- deploy. So no rate limit. So this will tell you some details about, so no rate limiting detected, add rate limiter, node envis undefined, node production, no token revocation store detected, consider adding one for auth token management, helmet not detected, add helmet middleware for security headers. Then also we have no auth adapters detected. So this should be able to guide you on some few issues you might be having with your application. Let's still run kick. So remove, we've talked about that. MCP, not necessary now. Generate. So we have a command here in the CLI. So these ones we've done. So one thing, let me finish up with the generators for the modules. So if you want module variant, currently you're seeing, let me make this pnpm. Currently you're seeing you have minimal. So if I change this to rest, just run kick g module. Which modules did we have here? Maybe rabbit. So we have an existing module override. Yes. So it will override. Then you can see now new files have been generated. You have DTO, create rabbit, DTO, these details. If you want more code generation, you can use that. Another version here is we have REST, we have done REST minimal, so we have domain driven. So generate another rabbit. Yes, yes, yes. So okay, it would be best, let me just generate maybe a dog now. Okay, so with the dog, you can see we have now the module here. At the base, we have constants. We have presentation where now the controllers live. So we don't have Swagger installed, that's why it's complaining. Then, so I can just ppm kick, okay, kick add Swagger. I don't know whether that will work. Okay, okay. Now it's there, it's there. So if you have infrastructure now, this is more code generation. You have the entities, the dog entity, repository, dog repository. You should be able to generate based on the dog, the the name you provided, the dog service. Everything has been injected automatically for you. Global file matching, container registration for your repository. In the infrastructure of the repository itself, I think we have seen some of these patterns. The paginated, the past query, details here. So if you are just getting started, it can really kickstart you off very fast. And also we also have, let me say now, maybe bird. Let me first change this to CQRS. So generate bird. If you explore the modules now, look at the birds, you'll see we have in-memory repository with everything set up. The bird, actual bird repository, the bird, okay, this is the bird repository and the token. You can see it's picking the name of your application, then the module and the repository itself, right? Then we have the in-memory version, which you can use for testing. You have the module section where you have your commands telling you the structure, commands, queries, events, and DTOs. Okay, so write operations, read operations, domain event, handlers, okay, then request response schemas. So this will just guide you. You have the injection happening there, then this is just normal. So you have your controller here, you have the commands, bad, get bad query, delete bad command, update bad command. These are already injected here for you automatically. So you have the constants, you have the queries here, list bad query, events, bad event, so bad created, so which takes in the bad response DTO, emit this event. So this is using node events, bad change handler. So you can really leverage on this if you're just getting started and maybe you want to explore something of this kind. It can get you started. Commands, we have create bad command. Once you create, then you emit event based on the result you're getting. Delete bad command, and so on and so forth. And also we have the test setup. They are just dummy, but you can start setting up your tests here. I haven't talked about testing the application itself really, but this gets you started with that. So the next bit here is we've talked about dev, build, start, doctor, so extending with custom checks. So if you want to do a check, okay, so this is now where extension of this CLI starts working. So aside from the default checks or the doctor, you can use this. So let me just copy this, then is there a way define config? So let me see if this works. So just copy that for now, come to our config. I hope we have a doctor section, doctor. So you have the doctor section, copy, paste. So import this. So import exist sync. Where did we get the exist sync? Okay. So, okay, let me just use the CLI here. So doctor ext.ts export const doctor, which should be, oh god. So define extension. So this should be custom, oh god, export const doctor extension. We import this, define doctor extension from KickJS. So I think, did we install, oh god, true, pnpm I. Okay. So we have doctor ext. Do we have types node here? Really? We have them. So seemingly restart the server. Okay, we'll assume that. So let's test, let's see if for instance, if you want to test for, you need to doctor check your Prisma. So I'll just come here and extend this. Okay, so then I can just come here and say pnp, okay, kick doctor. Okay, then did it really run? So let's see whether that worked. Let me log console checking Prisma. Did it? Okay, yeah, I see. So it's checking for Prisma. So let's see if maybe so let's call this so maybe we want to check. Okay, wait a minute. So generated. Okay, if let me just maybe let's have this as a drizzle. So status can be fail or won. So we can check for a drizzle config. Okay, so is drizzle existing? So we'll check if drizzle exists. So what will return here? I'll just say is drizzle. So name drizzle configuration found. Then okay. So let's try that. So we check if drizzle file exists. If it doesn't exist, wait a minute. No, we don't need this here. Yep. So kick doctor. Okay. Okay. Do you have drizzle file here? So is drizzle, what is it saying? Oh, okay. Oh, not found. Okay, so this is how you can extend the doctor. Let's say if you want to diagnose some things in your application, you might need to check. So there's this utility known as define doctor extension. So inside it, you just define doctor extension. Under it, you define your checks. You get the context. This now will be the doctor context you're having. Then in the context, you have the current working directory. Then we just join with the drizzle config. So here we're just checking if that file exists. If it exists, then we say drizzle configuration found. We give the status either pass, fail, or won. So that means if it passes, then everything is okay. If it doesn't pass, then everything is okay. Is not okay. So then, what is the alternative? If now drizzle not found, then you pass the status fail. Then the fix, you show the fix here. Add a drizzle. Tell the user add a drizzle config.ts file at the root of the application, so that if now you run the kick doctor, it runs all the internal ones and also includes the drizzle version. And you can see drizzle not okay, drizzle configuration not found. Regardless of the order in which it has come out, it doesn't matter. So it will tell you how many are passed, how many warnings, and maybe errors. So I can just add this as a warning 1. So then if I run, oh god, If I run the doctor again, you will see it as a warning. Then it will tell you 5 passes, 1 warning, and 1 error. That is how to use the KickJS doctor. You have seen how to extend that. This you can extend it to whichever way you wish, but I've just shown you how to do it. We have the info, list, add, and many others. So there are ways by which you can extend the CLI also to run custom commands or configurations. So I'm not sure if we have them here. Code generators. So in the generators, we have these basic generators, but we have talked about them. So let me see if we have ways. Custom commands, are they here? Okay. So there's something I'm looking for, but I'm not seeing it here. Let me see if I can figure out a way. So KickJS CLI has a way to extend using plugins, okay? So you can see this plugin section, which is empty at the moment. So I'll just have it as kick plugin here and have plugins.ts, okay? So then const plugins, this is how to discover actually, which will be that, okay? So let's say we have defined CLI plugin, all right? So this will be just const example plugin, which will be define. Most of these things you'll see we are just having define. Okay, so then we have this example plugin here. So what do we have? The name, example. We don't have hooks. We have commands, which are those. So this is a command. We have generators. We'll explore them one by one. Register. Okay. So P. So then we have the type gens. Okay. So this is the plugin interface for KickJS, right? So you can have several plugins. So we'll have this example plugin. We just export that so that plugins here we can just paste the example. We can rename it to example CLI plugin. We don't need to type this because this is already in fuzz. So let's start with commands. Commands are really simple. Just the definition is just the name. Say hello, then steps. So Oh god, name. No, wait a minute. Oh, I see. No. It should be echo. Yes. So then if I come to the CLI pnpm, okay, kick, you can see I'm getting hello here set up. So if I change this to me, then if I run kick, you should see me. So if I say kick me, say hello from example plugin. So you can have your command definition here like this. We have generators, which now get define generator. Define generator. So let's say const example generator will be just that. So you define that generator. What will be the name? So let's say me. Okay, generate me description. So an example generator. Then we'll have arguments. So argument, the argument name, description. So that with required true. What's left here? We'll have the files, right? So this is now how you define a generator. So you'll get the context. Out of the context, what can you retrieve? You can retrieve the name, args. You can get the camel case version. So the best way here is to just get the context, then we just return. What we return here should be generator file. Okay, so how does a generator file look like? Okay, so let's say generator file. Okay, how does it look like? So content, then the path. Okay, so async, don't know. Okay, let's log. So we get the context, ctx. So the context is what is important to us. Get the example generator. Then we add our example generator. So we can test this by saying pnpm kick g. So then it will tell you here, we have me, so generator me takes in the name and extra arguments, and you have this. So what you do, kick g me, so missing name, so say x. So then it will tell me this is the context. So what did I pass here? Let's say kick g me x. So the name is x, Pascal case is capital X, kebab is X, snake case is X, modules directory is that, current working directory is that, project root is that, arguments, flags, plural, kebab, plural, that. So you can just do a lot of things with this. So let's say monkeys. So let's kick g me monkey. So you can see now we are getting the name, which is monkey, Pascal monkey, camel monkey. Let's try user base. Okay, so you can see the name we've passed, Pascal version, camel case version, and the snake case version. So that is the whatever is contained in the context. All right, so args, we are not getting the args. Okay, do we have extra args? Maybe blob 3. Let me see if that works. Okay, so you can see we also have extra arguments. So let's say flag -d. So it's not identifying that because we didn't define that. Do we have flags really here? Flags, yes. Can have -shout. So here also we'll have name shout. God. So alias will be s. Remove that. So then I can just say s here. Then you can see now I can get the arguments, I can get the flags, and so on and so forth. That is for the generator. But what happens here? So I'm not sure how this is playing out here. How do we get just check something. So we'll return, let's say here const files. So this will be const file path will be ctx dot modules dir. So let's say join. So the current working directory src, then generate. So we have the content and we have the files. We don't need this. So here we'll say hello. Oh God. So this is the content. So we'll say ctx camel. Let me just call it that. So let's try and generate user base. All right. So if you check this, you can see we have created a simple generator using KickJS extension. So you can see we have what you do here is the generator expects a file path and the content, so it will automatically populate that. So since we have the context of the current working directory, we just join the src and create the greetings file. If we need to add more content, then we can just say here console okay, let's regenerate this. Then you can see we have content here. So in the meantime, what I can say here, can just add const content, which will be just that new line. So in this we'll say name will be ctx dot pascal. Okay. So then this will be the content. So if I run the generation, then now you can see the greeting is having const message is equals to user base, then const content is equals to this, generated content is equals to this content, and maybe I can just add alongside it message. So this means if you are someone who is not interested in how KickJS handles or file generation, you can utilize this extension of defining your generators. So this is how you define a generator. You give it the name, and then you generate the file, provide the description and the flags, of which you can see you can be able to access them from here. So you can easily extend those ones. So also we have a way to register command. So p, let's say p dot register. So this is more of using the commander dot action hello. Okay, so this is commander dot action. So we can say p dot command. So p dot command hello dot action description, say that action. Okay, so then you can just say here, so cls, you can just say npm kick. We have hello, then it will tell you, let me change this to hi. You should, if, oh god, so we have hi, a simple command that says hello. So I can just run npm kick hi, that should tell you. So these are the extension points. For this I won't go over the type gens because it's a bit complicated, but you can see you can really extend KickJS extensively. You can use the generators, you can use the plugins. It doesn't matter how you want to extend this, and I've shown you how to generate generators for yourself, and you provide just the path and the file content, and KickJS will write that out for you. So the nice thing with this is once you have everything npm, you just kick build, should build the production version. Okay, what's happening? Roll down failed to resolve Zod. npm add Zod. Okay, so once that is done, you can see it builds fast. Then you can just run this with the node dist index.js, should be running just like see. So if you have any questions, you can put them in the comment section, but I hope this takes you end to end. You can have a look at the first video if you feel you missed a bit of the things you have done here, and I think this, I hope this, let me just add these ones, so that, so include also CLI, yes, so that it's aware. Yeah, so just that's what it needed to make sure that we don't have this error. So let's format pnpm format, should format everything. So we started with, we added docker, not docker, doctor. You can extend the doctor. You can also extend it using plugins. We have generators. We also have a plugin which mounts generators, and also you can register custom commands using the commander. We also have the type generation, but this might be saved for later. So I hope you've learned a thing or two on the KickJS philosophy. So another thing which is coming up soon is the KickJS DB. So we're still working on this, but you can exploit from KickJS. Where is DB? We also have DB, this one. So its philosophy is to, it's like Drizzle, but more or less the distinction is that we are having, maybe we can test it out actually. Let me just try it out. So this was not planned for this session, but let me just try it out if we can achieve some success with it. So paste. Okay. So once that is in place, all I need to do is to come to setup DB index.ts. So how do we get started? Copy this. So PG will need types PG. So then so we have users okay, come to kick, just say here DB. So we also have the dialect, which will be Postgres. Connection string, we just have that. Schema path will be srcdb index. Migrations directory, srcdb migrations. Then you can add your adapters here. So it doesn't matter how this works, but let's see. How do you work with KickJS DB? pnpm kick db. This is now to just try and get to have the commands that you're having. So what happens is, let's say, let's try -h. We have generate, migrate, and introspect. So let's try generate. So okay, so generate init, cannot find. Okay, this is because of having this. So what is this saying? So doctor ext imported from cannot find. Interesting. So let's disable all this because they're just causing issues here now. Let me retry that again. So, okay. Let's see. Okay, it's generate. Generate. So what is the output really? Nothing. Okay. So let's see. Star. Cannot find. Okay. Looks like that still has bugs, but yes, those are some things which are coming up on KickJS DB, but as soon as it lands, you'll be able to have the feel for it's drizzle-like, but with more. The migration side of things is now where it's a bit different. So thank you for watching. Leave a like. Don't forget to leave a like. See you in the next one.